Greetings and welcome to another episode of Catholicism and Coffee, our season 3 premiere. Hard to believe we've been doing this for 3 years.
Yeah.
I, of course, am Stephen Gasinski.
I am Beth Kaczynski.
We talk about Catholicism, all things Catholic, the entertainment world, and enjoy some great brews while we're doing it. Today, we're going to talk about a couple of things. The main thing we're going to talk about is the hit film Project Hail Mary. It is based on a novel by the same name. Written by Andy Weir, who also wrote Martian, which was also made into a film that actually did quite well in the box office. Project Hail Mary follows Dr. Ryland Grace, played by Ryan Gosling, who is a biologist who is trying to figure out how to save the Earth from a cataclysmic issue that could cause basically extinction level event.
Yes.
And along the way, he meets an alien named Rocky. And Rocky is an engineer, and they have to learn how to work together to solve the crisis because Rocky's race is facing an exact same issue on their planet. So that's where we go off. I'm calling it a hit because right now it is at, it needs to make about $600 million in order to break even. When I last checked this morning, it was at $510 million plus some change. I think it's going to make like $600 million if it still stays in theaters. It's had really great legs. It is moving along quite nicely.
Does that have as many great legs as Rocky does?
I think it's been out that long. So yes, yes. Rocky has 5 legs, in case people are wondering what that joke means.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's exciting. It's nice to see a film in cinema that is actually good. So what are some of the Catholic themes that are in that film? Because some people are saying, oh, is it going to have Catholic themes? Yes, it does. But what kind of Catholic themes do we have?
So despite the name, it is not inherently religious. It's not Hail Mary, Jesus' mom. Wrong Hail Mary. It is still full of grace because the character Ryland Grace.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. But there is just this great theme of saving others, putting others before yourself.
Yeah. Because Ryland believes it's a one-way trip.
Yes.
And he has to deal with that as he's moving along. And there are a lot of it's one of the most dangerous missions. It is literally a Hail Mary. You don't know whether you're going to come back alive or dead.
Yeah.
And if it's even worth it.
Yeah, and this is the only hope, basically, to save humanity, is to go into space, travel many, many, many light years. I don't remember the exact number. I don't think the movie tells us.
It does.
It
I
does?
forgot
Okay.
the exact amount.
I can't remember if it's the movie or the book, because we read the book before we saw the movie, because that's how things work around here most of the time.
Yes.
Yes. But they have to travel very far, so of course they don't have enough fuel and supplies to make the round trip. That's why it's a one-way trip. And that's said from the beginning, if you're doing this, you're not coming back. They even ask the crew, how would you like to die?
Yes.
So that part's a little,
But it's understandable.
yes, but it's understandable.
But it's done in such a way that is really well. It's really well done. It is a very well made film. Directors Phil Lord and Chris Miller. You're probably familiar with them from doing like the Lego movies and the Spider-Verse films. They've done live action too. They did Jump Street films, so they're experienced. This has been their first film in many years, so in a number of years, first live action in many, many years. So there's been that question: oh, do they still have it? And I would say they do. Screenwriter Drew Goddard, who also wrote the screenplay for The Martian, came back to do this one, did a fantastic job overall. It's a really good adaptation.
Yeah. So why do we like this movie? Why do we give it high praise?
There are a couple of things. One, it's a really good story. It is written well. The characters are good. The performances are excellent. It's shot very, very well. Special effects are pretty good. The Rocky character is not all CGI. It's actually 2 puppets. Um, so that's kind of fun to see that. And also, Christopher actually put this up. A masculine biologist played by Little King Baby Goose, which is what Ryan Gosling's name translates to. That is true. And he is masculine because he's doing these things, and he actually is a good science teacher, which is kind of awesome.
Yeah.
Shows he cares for his kids and such. And there's a great scene with that in the film. It doesn't do that as it shows that there's more scenes of that in the book, but they did it, translated that pretty well.
Yeah, and they just basically parsed down all of the classroom scenes into one.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one thing to note is when Ryland Grace wakes up on the ship, because since it is such a long trip, they put all the crew into a coma. That way they don't kill each other on the way, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then he wakes up and he has amnesia because he's been in a coma for so long. And it's not exactly explained why he got amnesia, but we can deduce.
Yeah.
And he's having to remember who he is, what exactly he's doing. Now, the book, it goes into a lot of detail of him really exploring the ship. The movie kind of summarizes it, but that's understandable. That's okay.
Yeah, it's already a long movie.
Yes.
It's a 2.5 hour long movie.
Yes. But it doesn't feel long. They use the time well. They keep things moving.
There were a couple of scenes that dragged for me, but that's just me.
Yeah. Overall, though, it moves pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think Ryan Gosling's performance is pretty darn good considering how much he was just doing by himself.
Yeah, he carried the movie on his rather broad shoulders and did it well. And apparently he was the only choice for that role. Probably because he bought the rights to it and is a producer. But that's okay. He can do the work and was very passionate about the project.
Yeah, and he gave a great performance.
Wow, it's excellent. I'm kind of curious why he doesn't have an Oscar yet. Because he's got the ability. Yeah. It's really nice to, as I said, it's nice to have a good performance. It doesn't lecture you at all about anything except science and how helpful science can be. Has really good humor. It actually has. It carries the humor in the book because Andy Weir is very, very witty. He's a dry wit. He has a very dry wit because he's an engineer before he became a novelist. So he has a very dry wit, and it's in the book. It actually translates very well to the film, and it's quite enjoyable.
Yeah.
So I really am happy to report that it is funny, but it's not like quippy and in that annoying Marvel humor way where it's bad quips every 15 seconds. It's actually well placed. It's character driven. It's situation driven. There's some good stuff in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and another thing we woe and lament about around here is just, all the movies today are trash. They're just godless. They're soulless. Now, this is not a film where they talk about God or anything like that a lot, but it is still a, shall we say, clean film.
Yeah.
It is appropriate for a teen or a preteen.
Yeah.
Now, a 5-year-old could be in the room watching it, and there's nothing you'd want to really shield them from, except there are some kind of intense moments, and there are a few references to drugs, which I think is why I got the PG-13 rating, but it's not PG-13 because it's very gruesome.
No, it's actually very tame.
Oh, yeah.
I tell a couple of people asked after I saw it, oh, would my kids like it? And I'd say about 10 years old is the appropriate age. Yeah. You can just watch the movie and have a blast. As I said, it's really well done. Grace doesn't curse, being a teacher of middle school.
Yes.
So he wants to show that it's a very masculine thing that he wants to lead by example, and he does it very, very well.
Yeah.
And a lot of really good stuff is in the film. It's just pleasant. There isn't a question of you say it's godless or it isn't godless or anything. It isn't. There's actually one point where he asks the head, the person who's running the whole operation, asks, "Do you believe in God?" And she doesn't exactly give an answer. She kind of gives the look that how I interpret her acting is, I'd like to, I like to believe that there is a higher power, but she doesn't exactly say that, but that's just my interpretation.
Yeah, they keep it kind of vague. It's not straight out, oh, we're scientists, God doesn't exist, but
No,
also not like, oh, God is making all this happen and we trust in God.
no, it's a nice balance,
Yes.
which I appreciate.
Yes.
As I said, the cast is really good. There aren't a ton of, I mean, Gosling is the biggest name, probably.
Oh, easily.
I mean, there's some other character actors in there, which is nice to see that they're getting work, which makes me happy because I'm like, oh, these people are great. Like, give them more stuff to do. So that was nice. What other themes and such do we want to hit on?
Well, a great theme of service, as we kind of talked about, putting others before yourself, saving others, which during this season of Easter is such a big thing to think about. Because Grace has to save all of humanity, basically. Because he has to go out into outer space, into a different galaxy, even.
No, still the Milky Way.
Still the Milky Way?
Yeah, it's still the Milky Way. It's just outside our solar system.
Outside our solar system.
Yeah.
I'm not a scientist.
That's
but
okay.
I still enjoyed this movie. So you don't have to be a sciencey person to enjoy it.
No, you just enjoy it more because you are a sciencey person.
Yeah. But I do like astronomy.
Astronomy is great.
Yeah. But again, saving others and having to travel really far for a really long time to go and possibly discover if there is a solution to the problem. Because they don't know. They're going off a small hypothesis of, we notice this pattern and this one thing is different. Maybe the answer is here.
And the big theme about communication, trying to reach out and to talk to someone else, which Grace does with the alien name. He names Rocky because
he looks like a rock.
He is a rock, and they have to learn how to communicate together, and it is really neat. The movie actually expanded on that a lot more than I expected. I thought they were going to really parse down on it. So yeah. So it's really well done, as I said.
Yes. And another thing is about welcoming the stranger, because in the movie, at least at first, Grace sees this alien ship. He wants to get away from it. You see the Rocky's ship following Grace's ship, the Hail Mary. That's Grace's ship. And then he's trying to escape, but then eventually he goes and he accepts the invitation from Rocky to meet face to face.
Yeah.
And then to talk. And then Rocky goes onto his ship at one point, and Grace doesn't kick him out, even though he probably wants to.
He wants to several times, but he eventually gets. He's like, "Well, I got a new roommate." It's done really. It's done for more comedic value, but it's done in a really. It shows that Grace himself is just a very affable and welcoming person. So that's really neat to see that. And just one thing about Grace, even though he has character flaws and you explore them in this movie, he's a genuinely good man. And it's so refreshing.
Yes.
It's not you're forced to like him. You're like, I want to root for this guy. He seems cool. He's a guy I want to go have a beer with and talk about stuff. I would understand about a third of what he's saying if we're talking science, but it would still be kind of cool. And that's one thing that is really nice to talk about. It's such a refreshing thing with films today. Because a lot of the protagonists in a lot of films and TV series are people I just don't want to root for. I've been having this issue with a lot of films for a long time, but I'm just like, I don't like these people. I'm rooting for them to just get annihilated. But Grace is not one of those people. And it's, as I said, it's just such a breath of fresh air.
Yeah. I also like to root for Rocky.
Oh, you have to root for Rocky. He's fun. He's a little sarcastic. He's a little sassy. I think Rocky is Andy Weir. Since he's an engineer and he has a very dry sense of humor. I think that's Andy Weir putting not the obnoxious self-insert, which I hate, but it's like my personality kind of inspired the creation of Rocky. I wonder. I love to interview him and ask him that question.
I get so many questions I want to ask Andy Weir after reading the book.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
And there are questions if there's going to be a sequel.
I'd be okay with that.
This is one I'd be like, I'd be okay if they did one, but I also would be okay if they didn't.
I have a great idea for a sequel.
I have a couple.
Yeah.
But no one's asking me, and I'm not Andy Weir, and that's a very good thing.
Yeah.
He's kind of cooler than I am in certain ways, and that's okay.
Yeah. So, any other thoughts on the movie?
Well, some stuff that didn't get translated in the film from the book was irksome.
Yeah, there was only one thing for me.
Yeah, there was one for me as well. It's the same one because we discussed this at length since we've seen the movie.
Yeah.
So if you do not want to be spoiled on something, this is the time to get out. We're going to give you 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay.
Okay, book spoiler time.
Book spoiler time.
Yeah.
In some ways, movie spoiler time too.
Yeah. So one thing that was so important in the book was when they were finding this crew, they needed the people who had this coma-resistant gene. And that is not mentioned at all in the movie because Grace is one of the few who was on the project basically start to finish who has this coma-resistant gene. In fact, it's not specified that he's the only one, but it seems implied pretty heavily that he's the only scientist, researcher with this gene, which is why the main person who's leading the project straight keeps him around.
Mm-hmm. And in the film, they have backup crew for the Hail Mary just in case something goes wrong.
Yeah,
and
the book too.
Things go wrong.
Yes.
Very badly.
Yeah, but so wrong that the person and the backup person both died in a rather tragic accident, which is how Grace ends up on the crew.
Yeah. So that was tragic. So Grace doesn't exactly go up of his own volition at first.
Yeah. And that's the case in both the book and the movie, but the movie doesn't make it seem quite so high stakes. It's just, oh, you're going to go because these other scientists can't, and you're a scientist, not these other scientists can't, and we have really no other choice because no one else has this coma-resistant gene. Like, the stakes were just so high in the book, and I don't think the movie made the stakes invisible, but the raised stakes would have made it really, really cool.
Yeah, it would have made it a lot better,
Yes.
just from a writing perspective. And we're both writers, and I've written screenplays. You and I are writing screenplays together.
Yes.
So there's that.
Yeah.
That's a big to-do. I'm really hoping... I was a little bummed about that particular one. There were some characters that they kind of twisted and amalgamated from the book, and they turned them into like one character or something. And I was a little bummed about that because I really enjoyed the characters in the book. So there was that. And you didn't get to spend time with other crew members from the ship, from the Hail Mary as much.
Yeah, they were basically background characters.
Yeah, which was a bummer because they got really good actors to play them.
Mm-hmm.
And they're hardly in the movie, and that was a bummer, and that kind of makes their certain things that happen to them not as good. And so that was another irksome thing for me.
And I think the other crew members each had maybe half a dozen lines. Just not a lot of lines, not a lot of screen time. So slight bummer.
It is a slight bummer.
And I think part of it is in the book, not so much with the crew members, but with the other scientists and the people developing the things. Their roles are just so small. They kind of come and then they disappear. And someone else comes and disappears because there are so many elements to this project and they got to introduce it all, but not everyone gets to stick around. So the movie just kind of did away with a lot of that, which from an adaptation point makes sense, but also I want to see this.
Yeah. Maybe in 20 years they'll do a reboot with a series, and they'll claim it's a true adaptation. And maybe by the time Hollywood will be, a bit more fixed, and they'll actually really do a real adaptation on like another franchise, which we will talk about shortly.
Now, there were some changes from book to film that I either liked or I thought made a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
And the first one that comes to mind is the discovery of the boxes of the crew's personal items. Because in the book, I almost said Rocky, I meant Ryland or Grace doesn't find those till close to the end.
Yeah.
Whereas those are some of the first things he pulls out of their storage, and he uses those to kind of recover his memory and remember who he is and who his crew is. I'm like, that's smart to do that. That's a lot more visually appealing, a lot more interesting than him just sitting in a ship. Who am I? Where am I? What am I doing?
Yeah.
That would have been pretty boring to watch after about 5 seconds.
Yeah, they moved that. That was a good pacing change that they made, and it worked really, really well. Yeah. Some dialogue that they added to the film instead of that they didn't have in the book, I really enjoyed. There was they did really well with building that relationship with Rocky.
Yes.
In both the book and the film. They did some more stuff. They did it differently than in the book, and it worked. It was more visually appealing too, because they have the little hollow room where they're watching Rocky the movie, and stuff like that, which was quite enjoyable.
Yeah, and it was fun to see Ryland and Rocky just kind of hanging out, whereas in the book it's always science and problem-solving focused. They don't really just hang out like bros.
Yeah.
And then one other change that I kind of like, because the book brings up so many questions. And when I was reading it, I'm like, I just can't stop. I have so many questions. I need answers. And there was one that's just who was still on Earth, who was waiting for Grace and the crew to come home or to return answers. And there's just so little said about what's going on Earth while Grace is in space.
They hint at it at the end of the book, but they actually show it in the film, and they actually do a really nice job. It didn't take long. It was like, what, 40 seconds?
Yeah, and it was just such nice closure. It's like, oh, Straight was still on Earth. She was still involved with this project. She got to see the Beatles, which is the devices they used to ship back to Earth with the findings. Yeah. And I was also wondering, what did Ryland put in the Beatles? Did he just say, here's the solution to the astrophage problem? Or did he talk about Rocky? And in the movie, they tell us he shared his findings about Rocky, which made me so happy.
Yeah, he did a video log, which they really didn't say anything about in the book, but actually worked well thematically. Yeah. Apparently, Weir was involved with the production of the film, so he probably gave his blessing for a lot of these changes. Yeah. So that was nice.
And nice to have some questions answered. I was just thinking, how could Ryland return information to Earth? Or how can the first human make contact with an alien and then the rest of Earth never know about it? That's depressing.
Well, they do. They learn.
Yay.
They learn. So, should we hit comments or should we talk about Earth?
Let's go ahead and hit comments.
Okay. Well, we have Christopher Chance, our fellow host. Cool. Professor Heterodox wanted to say, why, hi there. And we said he should go back to his dungeon. Come on. He made a deal with the Giant Papist. Great YouTube channel for Catholic stuff. Go check that out. To occasionally make more videos since my channel got a response to it that was favorable. Yes, I cave in towards fictional characters that I create. Well, I understand these things. We have both caved into our characters. Yes, season 3, great reviews so far. Jacob Linus XD, thank you, sir. Christopher, a masculine. Oh, we already looked at that. Sorry. The Milky Way is huge unless you're Marvel Comics, and you can still have a fantastic story and still be contained within our home galaxy. And thousands of science fiction projects before it have done the same thing. But Marvel has become incompetent. I said what I said.
Okay, we're not talking about Marvel.
No, we're not. We're going to talk about a different franchise, though. One that has caused a lot of issues. Harry Potter. It's caused quite a stir. But we're not going to talk about that. Because there are plenty of very qualified channels that will talk about all the production issues of that disaster. But we decided to take advantage of the situation. And we write something good. So have you ever wondered if some of your favorite Catholic saints, if they went to Hogwarts, where would they be placed? Well, we try to answer that question. We do not have our copy of the book yet. Should be here this week. We have a book called When the Saints Meet the Sorting Hat. We'll place a comment. It'll be our main comment above, where we talk where you can go purchase the book. We finally published it. We worked really hard. We had a a few things happened between this last episode that we did and this one. So some stuff went down and we needed to take a hiatus, but we finished the book in that interim, and it's published. It's very good. We do pretty comprehensive study of both the Saints and Harry Potter, but we do a lot of work. So if you have someone you have a student or a child, a niece, nephew, who's going to be going into confirmation next year,
or this year,
if they haven't picked their saint, maybe give them a little something. You can pick up that book. Maybe they'll help them move them along, or make them solidify their choice for saint for this year, since they probably have chosen their saint. So you got plenty of options. We go through over 30 saints in that book.
Yes.
And we go all the way from St. Peter to St. John Paul II.
And St. Carlo Acutis.
Oh, St. Carlo Acutis. Okay.
And Pier Giorgio Frassati. They're both featured in this book.
Yes. So we go all the way back and all as much forward as we can with these 30 saints. And who knows, we may write another one. Depends on how this one does.
Yes.
Because like movies, we need profits.
So if you want more, buy the book.
Buy a book.
It could be a great confirmation gift too.
Mm-hmm.
It is our longest book to date.
Yeah, hence why it's more expensive.
Yeah. Don't worry, we tried not to overprice it.
No, we don't overprice, but we want to make some profit from our work.
Yes. And you can always get the Kindle edition, and that's always a little cheaper because it takes out the price of printing. And also, our royalties are a little higher for the Kindle book. So if you're on the fence about, do I want the physical book or the Kindle book? Think about how much you like us and how much money you want us to have.
Or better, get both.
Or get both.
Oh, dear. Almost Christopher Walken there. I was scared for a moment. Oh, you. How dare you besmirch the great name of Christopher Walken? How dare you, sir? Anything else we need to shell? Like, comment, and subscribe to our channel.
Yes, please.
We've had tremendous growth on our Facebook page. It's been wonderful. It'd be nice if it grew on our channel.
Tell your friends.
Tell your friends. There's a lot of cool stuff we're going to be working on.
Yeah, we've got some ideas coming up.
Yeah.
And we'll be talking a lot more about our book in the next few months or so.
Yeah. We have a lot to talk about there.
Yes. In the meantime, go read it.
Yeah, go get it. Go read it. I may do some more talks on my book, Film Forming Faith, and I may be working on another one. We shall see. All right. Can you give examples of saints you had sorted as a small preview? Well, I already said we did St. Peter. We did Saints Pier Giorgio Frassati, St. Carlo Acutis, Felicity and Perpetua.
Yes.
Hildegard, yeah. St. Jerome.
St. Jerome. St. Patrick, St. Nicholas.
We're naming these off the top of our head.
And then as far as the Old Testament saints go, we have John the Baptist.
Yeah.
Or not Old Testament, New Testament.
Yeah.
John the Baptist. We have James and John, the apostles.
Mm-hmm.
I think James, John, and Peter are the only apostles.
Correct. We don't.
And then we have St. Paul.
We have St. Paul, the least of the apostles, according to him.
Yes. And we won't say which houses they're in yet, because that's supposed to be a surprise as you read it.
Yes.
But we do have saints in every house. They're spread fairly evenly.
Yeah.
I think we're a little heavy on the Hufflepuffs.
Yeah, surprisingly, because considering...
Well, Hufflepuffs are very loyal.
Mm-hmm.
They're the ones who would lay down their life for a friend.
Mm-hmm. So...
And we have a lot of Gryffindors, too. A lot of those martyrs. It's like, yeah, you definitely belong in Gryffindor.
Yeah.
But I think we have some martyrs who are not Gryffindors.
We have several.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And not every doctor of the church is in Ravenclaw.
No.
A lot of them are, but not all of them.
A majority of them are, but not all of them. So we actually try to give a pretty wide berth of saints, and we tried to fill the houses as much as we could. We actually changed a house when we were writing, and we were like, you know what, they actually fit. This person actually fits here better. All right, let's sit down and write them and move them.
Yes. But lots of saints, lots of different time periods for the saints.
Mhm.
I think we lean a little more towards the early saints,
Yeah.
but we've got plenty of modern ones too.
Yeah. We jump between them.
Yeah.
So we and we uh, so and I think we support our arguments pretty well.
Yes.
I will be amused to see which saints end up in the snake house. And Slytherin, oh, you'll be amused, surprised, and some maybe even angry. And I'll be like, well, I made my argument. Can you argue against that argument?
Not all Slytherins are bad.
No.
Yeah. And we give some examples of the good Slytherins. Professor Slughorn is one.
Mm-hmm.
Because, yeah, you can see why he's in Slytherin, but it's not because he's a Death Eater. He actually hates the Death Eaters.
Yeah.
Another one is Andromeda Tonks, who was formerly Andromeda Black, sister to Bellatrix Lestrange and Narcissa Malfoy. She left behind her family and everything they believed in to marry a Muggleborn.
Mm-hmm.
So she is not a racist Slytherin.
Yeah. And she ends up being like very important in the books. We don't see her at all in the movies, which is nonsense.
Yeah.
But we'll lament about that some other time.
Yeah, but we worked really hard on this book, poured a lot of time and energy into it, did probably more rewriting than we ever have before.
Yeah. As far as books go.
As far as books go, yes.
Yeah.
So please check it out and tell us what you think of it. And tell us if you want more.
Yeah, because we'll write more.
Yeah, we've already been talking about ideas.
Yeah, we already have a potential sequel in the works.
Yes.
So there you go. I don't have anything else to add, do you?
I think that's everything.
All right. Well, in the meantime, thank you for being on board with us. We hope you enjoyed this review. We did a lot of. It was nice to talk positively about a film, even though sometimes it's fun to trash a bad one, but it's nice to talk about a good one. It was a lot easier for us, actually. So we hope you enjoyed this. Go see Project Hail Mary. Help them make that goal.
Yes.
Making 600 million, even though they won't, even though they estimated quite a bit lower than what they were going to get. So that was nice. And they'll make some of it back in streaming, but definitely check out the movie. It is great to see in the cinema. Because the effects are just that good.
Yeah. You
can see things really, really well. We were fortunate. We were in a very good theater, and the sound, we were ideally placed for the sound. So we got everything. So it was really nice. So highly recommend. Nothing objectionable.
Nope.
So definitely see it. Andy Weir himself has said, I don't want to put anything objectionable in my movie. My job is to entertain. As a writer, and I'm like, I like you. More I watch him, I like him. Anyway, in the meantime, be bold, be brave, be courageous, enjoy your beverages of choice. God bless.
God bless.